What if I told you that the new Transformers universe did not begin with Optimus Prime? Not with Megatron, not with Cybertron, heck, not even with planet Earth. It actually began with two enemies stranded on a dead world, forced to survive together. This is Void Rivals Volume Number 1, More Than Meets the Eye, written by Robert Kirkman, with art by Lorenzo De Facili and colors by Matthias Lopes. I'm not sure if I got that, but anyway. And this book does something very smart. At first glance, it looks like a brand new sci-fi story about two alien civilizations at war together. But slowly, piece by piece, it reveals itself as the true opening chapter of the Energon Universe. By the end of Volume 1, we get connections to Transformers lore, hidden cosmic secrets, ancient enemies, and maybe even big hints towards something very much bigger. Possibly even Unicron. Hi folks. Welcome to CapVerse. I'm your host Chris, and today, in this video, we're breaking down Void Rivals Volume 1, the characters, the story, the major reveals, and why this comic might be way more important than people first realized. So, with that out of the way, let's begin. Okay, so Void Rivals introduces us to two alien societies, the Agorrians and the Zertonians. These two alien races live on opposite sides of a massive cosmic structure known as the Sacred Ring. From the very beginning, we learn one thing clearly. These people do not trust each other. The Agorrians and Zertonians have different cultures, different values, different ways of life, and a long history of hatred and rage between them. They are taught to fear each other. They're taught to see each other as enemies. And that is where our two main characters come into play. The first is a guy named Darak, an Agorrian pilot. Darak is young, stubborn, emotional, and honestly kind of funny. He talks big, but he's not heartless. He wants to survive, but he also has a strong moral center. He also has a robotic companion called Handroid, which works almost like a partner, assistant, and survival tool all in one. The second main character is Solila, a Zertonian warrior. Solila is more serious, more disciplined, and much more mission-focused than Darak is. She was trained to see Agorrians as enemies, and she does not warm up to Darak that easily. But that's what makes their dynamic work. Darak is more open and emotional. Solila is guarded and tactical. They should hate each other. But after both of their ships crash onto a strange planet, they're forced into the one thing neither of them wants: cooperation and survival. The story begins with Darak crash-landed on and badly separated from his mission. He's alone, injured, and trying to reconnect with Handroid. The world around him is harsh, silent, and empty. But he's not the only survivor. Solila has also crashed nearby, and when these two paths finally cross paths, the tension is immediate. They do not trust each other, they do not understand each other, and for a while, it feels like they're more likely to kill each other than help each other when they least expect it. But the longer they stay stranded, the more obvious it becomes that neither one can survive alone, without the other. Their ships are damaged, their supplies are limited, the environment is dangerous, and worst of all, this planet is hiding secrets. As they search for parts, resources, and a way off the planetoid, the story slowly turns from survival drama into mystery. Because this place is not just some random rock in space. Oh no, something ancient is buried here. Something connected to a much larger universe. Then comes the moment that changed everything. The reveal that made Transformers fans sit up and say, "Wait, what?" Because buried in the record is none other than Jetfire. That's right, you heard me. This is the first major signal that Void Rivals was not just a new image Skybound sci-fi comic. This was some part of something much bigger. Jetfire's appearance connects Void Rivals directly to Transformers mythology, and that is huge. Because until this moment, readers might assume this is just a separate alien war story. But Jetfire tells us otherwise. The Energon Universe has officially begun. And I love the way this reveal works because it doesn't interrupt the story. It does not suddenly become, oh, Transformers Prologue issue number 0, that kind of stuff. No. Instead, Jetfire is presented like a mystery. A giant ancient mechanical being lost on this strange world. To Darak and Solila, he's not a famous Autobot yet. He is an unknown machine, a discovery, a piece of a larger puzzle, and that makes the universe feel bigger. Darak and Solila do not fully understand what they have found, but we as the audience understand that this moment matters. Jetfire is the bridge. He connects this isolated survival story to Cybertron, the Autobots, the Decepticons, and the wider Energon universe. And from there, Void Rivals becomes more than a story about enemies stranded together. It becomes a story about hidden history. One of the strongest parts of Volume 1 is the relationship between Darak and Solila. At first, they treat each other like enemies because that is all they've ever known their whole life. Darak sees Solila as dangerous, and Solila sees Darak as someone she should not trust at all. But survival forces them to see each other as normal people, not symbols, not propaganda, not the enemy, just normal people. And that is the heart of Void Rivals. The title itself is important. They are rivals in the void. Two people from opposite sides of a cosmic conflict, lost in space, stuck together, and slowly realizing that their war may not be as simple as they were told. Darak begins to see Solila's loyalty, pain, and strength, while Solila begins to see that Darak is not just some monster from the other side. He's scared, he's brave, he's flawed, and he's also trying. Their bond does not instantly become friendship. That'd be way too easy. Instead, it becomes something more believable. Respect, trust, a fragile alliance. Eventually, maybe the beginning of something that could challenge everything their societies ever believed in. The Transformers connections do not stop with Jetfire. Oh no. Void Rivals also brings in familiar alien elements from Transformers lore, including the Skuxoid. The Skuxoid adds a different kind of energy to the story. He is shady, desperate, funny in a dark way, and very much the type of character who survives by making deals with people more powerful than him. His presence reminds us that the Energon universe is not just about the Autobots and Decepticons. It's filled with alien races, bounty hunters, warlords, ancient politics, and strange creatures hiding in the background. And that's exactly what makes this universe that more exciting. Skybound is not just building a Transformers comic. They're building a connected sci-fi universe where Transformers mythology touches everything around it. Void Rivals shows us that Cybertronian history has echoes all across space. Jetfire being found here is not random. The alien politics are not random. The buried technology is not random either. Everything feels connected somehow, even when the characters do not understand the connection yet. As the story continues, Darak and Solila eventually do return to their people. But returning home does not make things all that easy. In fact, it makes everything that more complicated. Because once they're back inside their societies, we see just how deep the hatred goes. The Agorrians fear the Zertonians, and the Zertonians fear the Agorrians. Both sides are convinced they're right. Both sides think the other side is dangerous, and both sides are trapped inside of a system built on fear. But Darak and Solila know something the others do not. They know the enemy is not exactly what they were told their whole lives. They've seen each other's humanity, or whatever the alien equivalent of humanity would be, though, in this case. They survived together, they helped each other, they had chances to betray each other, and they did not fully take them even when they had that chance. That changes everything here. Because once you see your enemy as a person, the lies become that harder to believe in. And that is why Darak and Solila are dangerous to their own societies. Not because they're the strongest fighters, not because they have the biggest weapons, but because they've started to question the story they were raised with. In a world built on division, questioning the narratives is that dangerous. Then, Volume 1 starts opening the door to even bigger Transformers mythology. We actually do see hints and appearances connected to the Quintessons, one of the most famous and mysterious alien forces in Transformers lore. The Quintessons have always represented something cold, ancient, and manipulative. They're not just alien villains who punch hard. Oh no. They are planners, judges, creators, experimenters. They are the kind of threat that makes the universe feel that old. And their involvement in Void Rivals suggests that the conflict between Agoria and Zertonia might not be random at all. There may be bigger forces, larger forces shaping events in the shadows. Forces that understand the sacred ring better than anyone else. And that is where the story really starts to feel that huge. Because at first, Volume 1 is about Darak and Solila escaping a dead world. But by the end of it, it becomes clear that they are caught inside a much bigger cosmic machine. A machine involving ancient history, hidden rulers, lost technology, and secrets that could change the entirety of the Energon Universe forever. And also, one of the most exciting parts of Volume 1 is how it teases bigger Transformers events without fully explaining everything yet. We actually get connections that point towards Cybertronian involvement. We get references to powerful figures and ancient plans. We also see how certain characters are aware that something much bigger is moving behind the scenes. And then, of course, there's the presence of another famous Transformer character, Shockwave. Shockwave is one of the most dangerous characters in Transformers history because he's not driven by emotion. He's driven by logic. Cold, brutal logic. When Shockwave becomes involved in any story, it usually means something terrifying is being calculated. Not felt, calculated. So when Void Rivals hints at things connected to Shockwave, Cybertronian history, and buried secrets, it makes the entire story feel like the opening move in a much larger game here. Then there's the mystery around Prometheus, and the idea that certain powerful figures may be trying to restore or revive something important. That tells us this is not just about Darak and Solila's survival story. Oh no, this is about power, legacy, control, and maybe the future of the sacred ring itself. Now, let's talk about one of the biggest mystery words in this volume, Goliant. When Goliant is mentioned, it immediately feels important. The name sounds massive, ancient, dangerous, like something tied to the deeper mythology of the Energon Universe. Now, is Goliant definitely Unicron? Right now, we cannot say that for sure. But could Goliant be connected to something that eventually leads towards Unicron? Absolutely. And here's why. The Sacred Ring already has cosmic imagery that feels very Transformers mythology coded. A massive ring structure, ancient secrets, a conflict built on hidden truth, power sources, lost history, and a sense that something terrible is coming beyond the horizon. In Transformers lore, Unicron is not just an average villain, He's a cosmic force, a planet eater, a devourer, a destroyer, of a big cosmic living apocalypse. So when Void Rivals starts hinting at a threat beyond the current war, it naturally makes fans wonder, is this universe slowly building towards Unicron as the big overarching antagonist? Maybe Goliant is not Unicron himself. Maybe Goliant is possibly a weapon, a prophecy, and maybe a being connected to the sacred ring. Or maybe, just maybe, Goliant is simply the first warning sign that the Energon universe has a much bigger endgame. Either way, the mystery works, because by the end of Volume 1, Void Rebels leaves us with a feeling that the war between Agoria and Zertonia is only one piece of a much larger cosmic puzzle. So, why does Void Rivals matter? Because it does what a good shared universe story should do. It does not just throw cameos at you here and there, it builds a foundation. Darak and Solila gave us the emotional core. Jetfire gives us the Transformers connection. The Skuxoid gives us wider alien world flavor. The Quintessons give us ancient cosmic danger. And Shockwave gives us the sense that Cybertronian secrets are already moving in the background. And Goliant gives us the big mystery. That is why this book is so important. It's not just the comic prologue origin before Transformers, G.I. Joe, or any of those yet to come. It is the first doorway into the Energon universe. And honestly, starting the universe this way is actually a very smart idea and move. Because instead of beginning with something familiar, Skybound built with something brand new. Then slowly reveals that the familiar world of Transformers has been hiding underneath the surface this entire time. That makes the reveal feel earned. It makes the universe feel larger. It gives readers a reason to care about original characters like Darak and Solila before the bigger names fully take over. And by the end of Void Rivals Volume 1, Darak and Solila are no longer just enemies. They're rivals, survivors, maybe even the beginning of something that could break the cycle between their worlds forever. But the larger mystery is only getting started. The Sacred Ring still has secrets. The Agorrians and Zertonians still do not know the whole truth. The Quintessons are watching. Shockwave may have a role to play in. Jetfire has already connected the story to Transformers history. And somewhere in the shadows, the name Goliant hangs over everything. So the big question is this: is Goliant the true threat, or is Goliant only the beginning? Could this be the first step toward bringing Unicron into the Energon universe? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear, though. Void Rivals is not just a side story. It's not a filler episode. It's not background lore. This is where the Energon universe truly begins. And if Volume 1 is only the opening chapter, then I'm pretty sure we'll definitely be keeping an eye on what comes next or what is yet to come. And that is the end of this volume. This has been CapVerse. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what you think. Is Goliant connected to Unicron? And which Energon universe story should I cover up next? Transformers, G.I. Joe, Void Rivals Volume 2, any of the G.I. Joe spin-off stories like Cobra Commander, Scarlet. But until next time, there is more to come than meets the eye. Until we meet again, fellow YouTuber watchers, this is CapVerse, over and out.